Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode on J of All Trades. Today I'm at my mom's place and I'm going to be redoing the entire rail that's going around the deck for her pool. Now, first things first, this is a safety issue. You can see that there's a rail that's missing on the right side here, and the rail on the left is not very stable. It's clearly missing a few parts there. And as we step up on top of the deck, we're going to notice that there's some things going on with the rail in the back here. First of all, you're going to notice that there is a dip here, and that's because someone joined these two pieces of rail. Here's a better look from the other side. They basically used two pieces of 2x4 here, and they joined two lengths of rail here by using these short pieces of 2x4. And as you can see, the rail is shifting downwards. Let's take a look at the post and see what's going on here. First of all, that's not sitting flush against the floor, and the whole post is leaning. This is causing the entire rail system to be even more unstable. And if someone braces against this, they can get hurt. So let's start removing these sections of railing here. As you just saw, this piece dropped. So I'm going to be using a couple clamps to just keep this in place while I take off the other side. I'm only doing that because I don't have a second person to hold the other side. When all the screws are out of that section, you can simply move the clamp and take the piece away. Now I'm going to continue working my way all around this pool deck here until I remove all the sections of railing. Now today I'm out here doing this in a little bit of rainy weather because we have an event coming up and I don't want any of the kids to get hurt when they try to use the pool. It's been raining on and off all day and I've been trying to wait for it to ease up, but it's just not easing up. So I've decided to just power through it and get it done. So I've removed all the railing and now it's time to remove the posts. These are 4x4 posts and I'll be replacing all of these with new pressure treated 4x4 posts. Now even though these are 4x4 posts, the actual size is 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch. Now here in this kit that I bought off of Amazon, I've got 4x4 post bases here and they're basically going to sit directly on the deck. Now the great thing about this is the deck is level, and by placing these directly on the deck, the post will have a much better support and there's going to be more surface area to hold the post. I'll be including a link in the description so you guys can check these post bases out if you'd like. To begin setting up the post bases, I basically put them at the corners in which I want to install them. I place a 2x4 on top of the bases to keep them in place while I measure out where I want them. Today I'll be installing these post bases 2.5 inches from the edge of the deck. The great thing about these bases is that you could pretty much install them just about anywhere. So there's a lot of flexibility in where you can place them on your deck. Also, be sure to check the codes for your particular area because for pool decks, there may be specific height requirements for the railing that goes around the deck. Also check your codes to see if there's a self-closing or self-latching gate that's required to get onto the deck itself. These are all important safety codes to be aware of. Here you can see that I'm securing these bases straight onto the deck with these screws that it came with. And I'm installing it even right over this anti-slip mat because it doesn't meaningfully change the level at all. And it actually helps to keep the mat in place as well. Another thing to point out here about this deck is that this deck is not a rectangle. It has a shape that's almost similar to a hexagon, and the angles are not exactly the same. So I'll have to build a railing system with custom angles that match up against the posts. I'll show you guys exactly how I did that later on in this video. Here is the side that did not have any railing, so I'll be putting a post here at the top and bottom. These two new posts will be used to build a brand new railing on the right side of these steps. At the bottom, you want to be sure to measure out the length of your railing and also its distance from the step. Now it's time to cut the posts. Here I'll be cutting these 6-foot posts in half, and I'll be using a compound miter saw to do all my cutting today. Once I had all the posts cut for the deck, I was able to put them right into these bases here and secure them using 2 screws on each side. A couple of these posts were a little tight getting in, so you have to really press it in to sit it flush. This usually happens when the post is not perfectly square. But in the real world, everything is not perfect. But once it's flush, you're good to go. The lengths for the posts at the bottom of the stairs are about 4 feet tall. That's about a foot longer than the ones that are on the deck itself. When a rail transitions from a flat horizontal surface to a sloping stairway, the angle creates a drop effect, so this is the reason why those posts need to be longer. Now it's time to put some pressure-treated 2x4s in between these posts. I'll be installing one length of 2x4 at the bottom and one length of 2x4 at the top in between each post. To install each piece, you're going to notice that I'm using clamps to keep each piece elevated, and this really helps to stabilize everything and keep it in place so I can screw it in. I'll be using decking screw to screw everything in, and this type of screw is perfect for all weather. If you take a closer look, you'll see on these 2x4s that I've actually cut custom-made angles on them. Then I pre-drill holes and then drive screws through those holes to make it easier to secure it to the posts. Here is my step-by-step method. First, I take a measurement from the top of the post and I make a mark. And I'll do this on the other post as well. Now I'll place a clamp on each post. Then I'll take a full 8-foot length of 2x4 and I'll rest it on each clamp. Now I'll use this tool called a digital angle finder, and I'll place this silver part up against the post and the black part flush against the 2x4. And this will allow me to make the angle that I need to cut to make the 2x4 fit flush up against the post. Here again, I'm just using this digital angle finder to draw the perfect angle that I need to fit flush against the post. And I'll include a link in the description for this angle finder, just in case you guys want to go out there and check it out. Now I'm going to measure the length between each post, and then I'll make my cut on the compound miter saw. And here I'm going to be using this mark that I drew earlier to adjust my compound miter saw to match. And once I do a little bit of adjusting here, I can get my blade to match up with this mark, and then I'll cut this right out. Now I'll slide this piece of wood over and I'll do the same thing. I'll adjust my saw and make sure that blade lines up perfectly with this mark, and then I'll cut it. Now I'm going to drill 2 pilot holes on each side of the 2x4, and this will help me to easily drive in those screws right into those posts. Here is where these clamps really come through. I can rest one side of the 2x4 on a clamp, and then I can adjust this side to match up with the mark that I made on the post. And here I'm just centering this 2x4 right there, and I'm just tightening up this clamp to hold it in place. And now I can easily drive screws straight into the post through those guide holes without having to fight with this piece. Now I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll center this piece and then I'll drive some screws straight into this post. Most of my cuts are pretty close and it usually is a tight fit, which is actually a good thing. So if you have a tight fit like this, you can simply use a piece of scrap wood to just tap this in and keep adjusting it until it's in the right place. Using the scrap wood against this other piece of wood helps to prevent any damages while you're striking it with the hammer. Otherwise, you'll have some really ugly dents on the wood. Here you can see that I'm actually using the hammer directly on this piece of wood, and that's because it's not very tight. It's very easy to maneuver this wood in between these two posts. Here for this bottom section, I'm gonna have to use a piece of wood against this because it's very tight. Here are some black aluminum rectangular deck balusters that I'll be using, and they're also called railing spindles, and these are 32¼ inches. They come with a pack of screws, and they also come with these plastic end caps, and this is how they look. You'll fit one end cap on each side of the spindle. If you'd like to check these out, I'll include a link in the description. So you'll simply take these stainless steel screws that it came with, and you'll screw it straight into the 2x4s. Before you screw it in, you'll want to put these end caps on first. It makes it a lot easier. I've cut 2 short pieces of 2x4s, and this is a 3½ inch piece, and it will allow me to give the perfect spacing for my spindles. And I'll basically use these clamps to clamp it onto the longer pieces of 2x4, and I'll put the spindle up against these and screw it right in. This will allow me to rinse and repeat and make the installation of these spindles a lot easier. If you're using an impact driver, you'll want to be careful not to use too much force because this can actually crush the spindle. You're going to work your way all along the entire railing system until you get all the way to the end. Once you get into a rhythm, it's actually pretty straightforward with using these clamps and these little pieces of 2x4 to be your guide. And here you can see how I systematically install these spindles back to back without any issues. Here is something really cool that I got for the posts. And these are solar post cap lights, and I'm gonna include a link in the description so you guys can check it out. These cap lights fit directly on the 4x4 post, and they're fully powered by solar energy, so you never have to think about powering them up or charging them. They have 3 lighting modes, and they have different temperatures and different brightnesses that you can actually set up. You'll lay the first piece directly on top of the post, and you'll use these included screws to screw it in. Then you'll take the top cap and you'll line up the clips and just twist it right in. And you're all set to go. These are waterproof and they're designed to withstand the elements. Here you can see on the left that I've already built the railing system for the staircase. I'll show you guys exactly how I built this railing. The first thing is taking the same distance at the top of this post and making a mark. And then you're gonna make another mark at the bottom. Since I have the railing already made on the right here, I can simply use a level and make the mark. Otherwise, I could just use a tape measure and measure the distance from the top of this post to where I need my mark. Now I'm going to use a set of stainless steel decking railing brackets, and I'm going to include a link in the description so you guys can check it out. Here I'm just securing these brackets to where I made my mark, and I'm going to be doing the same thing in the bottom as well as the top. One important thing to point out is that these are 30-degree 2x4 brackets. Once I cut my 30-degree angles on this 2x4 piece, they fit flush perfectly into these brackets. And then I'll take some screws and I'll secure it on the side. Now it's time to install the spindles. You're going to place the guides up against the post, so the spindles are going to be installed completely vertical. You're then going to continue to follow these guides all the way down the staircase until you complete all the spindles. I cannot emphasize how important it is to have these guides, because imagine having to measure every single spacing using a tape measure. It'll probably take you forever to finish this, but with these guides I can just go right through this very quickly. Here at the end, I didn't use the guides. I actually put the spindle up against the brackets, and that was the perfect spacing. So that worked out very well. Now here is the finished product. As you can see, we've got two sides of railing here going up the stairs, which is a lot safer than what we had before. Now you can climb up these stairs and not worry about falling off the side or having this other left side break off on you. This feels really sturdy, and the lights are going to make it a lot safer at night as well. Another thing is that these rails are not leaning like the ones that we had before. I want to take this moment to thank you guys for joining me today, and if you found this video to be valuable, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel so you can continue to get more videos like this one. And I'll see you guys on the next one.